going to show you how to cure the problem with the C5 air conditioning control unit. A lot of the lights inside, they go out, so we're going to show you how to resolder some new lights in there, where to purchase them, and also the lights that show you the AC temperature and a few other functions, they go dim as well, and showing you those resistors that you'll have to also put back into place for that. Alright, here we go. So what you're going to use, a 3/16 long neck socket, so that way you can get around on the other side. Pardon me, I've been a little under the weather, so my throat's a little messed up. Been coughing. It's that dang old flu season. So what we're going to do here is going to take off these 4 bolts around the corners. Get it right inside that machine there. Right. Pop this open, be very careful. There's going to be some harnesses. And since the screen is dim, the fix for that is going to be some resistors. They're going to be under this panel here. So we're going to go ahead and take off these 4 bolts here, the same size socket. Alright, so I got my soldering iron and your mama's tweezers. So just gonna kind of heat up the elements on the side there where the soldering joints are at. Kind of rub it through. Be a little more careful than I am. Goes. Taking a little bit to heat up there. We go around till we do all 8 of those. Take a little bit of solder. Don't think this, huh? There it goes. It's letting me know that that element is heating up. Very good. Don't spend too much time in one area. You don't want to burn up the chipboard. Alright, you see some of these resistors, some of them look like they're upside down. I did not touch those. They are the way they are. I don't have the greatest soldering iron, but I think I did alright just to retouch up the ends there. I'm just hoping I didn't burn up the circuit board a little too much. I mean, these things can take some heat, but not too much heat. Alright, next thing I'm going to do here, got a 9-volt battery and bought a bunch of bulbs for replacement. I'm going to check each one of these one by one, just by hooking them up to the ends of the battery, just to make sure that they're all good. So these are 9 volts, and these bulbs are going to be able to handle up to 12, so you don't have to worry about popping those when it comes to testing them, because it's going to be 12 volts running through the system, lighting these up anyway, which they're going to be brighter than that, and they're dimmable for the interior. So pull out 14, you're going to do 14 of these. So I'm going to just sit here and I'm going to test all 14, make sure that they're good. On to the next portion. Now we're going to remove the light bulbs. As you can see, all the light bulbs here, there's actually circles around each location. So you got 14 bulbs. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. And so you just have to kind of line up where they are on the front and where they're connected in the back. And what you're gonna do, grab the bulb, get your soldering iron, and you're gonna hit those spots where those little solder points are. Gonna heat up that solder that's existing on there, both of them, to be able to pull the bulb out. I can feel the bulb's already loosening up as this element heats. So you're just gonna have to work it back and forth between both those points, contact points. This one's being a little stubborn. One of them feels completely out, the other does not. And there it goes. There's one bulb out. These bulbs look a little bigger than what I just pulled out of there. So hoping these lined up, we're gonna have to go through that bit by bit. Here's the progress I made so far. So I've got this bulb, that bulb, this bulb here, that one. Just switching them out one by one is kind of a bit of a pain, because you got to go back behind here and you got to heat up those soldering points to be able to slide out the old bulbs, and then do the same thing. You have to reheat those up so you can slide the new ones in, which is not an easy task. So I've been using the tweezers and trying to pull it through as I hit it with that heating element, with the soldering iron. See if I can set this up. So as I'm feeding the light bulb through, it's got those little threads right there, and I would grab those with the tweezers as they do make it through the other side of the circuit board, while consistently holding the soldering iron up to those points. So I would just poke them through from the other side, just hold it there for a while, feed it through, and once it was enough to cut through, I would sit there and hold the soldering iron onto that joint for a while, and then just pull that threading on through. So that's pretty much all I'm going to show for now, and I'll show you guys when I reinstall this back into the vehicle. First thing you have to do to take out the center console, which I've already done. I just kind of slapped it all back together just to show how it's done. You're going to take these two little plastic tabs off each of these areas, these little two tabs, and then there's going to be two 10mm nuts that's going to be in there as well. So you're just going to remove those. And also, while doing this, you're going to pop off this center piece here that houses the active handling and shows you the passenger airbag if it's on or off, which in the glove box there is a key that you can use to turn that passenger side airbag off. Alright, so you got the fuel release, door release there. You got your AC for, I'm not sure if a cigarette lighter works in there. I don't think it does. And then that's where your cigarette lighter would plug in to the main console there. So you gotta be very careful when you undo all the harnesses and this harness here. So after you get that done, you're just going to lift up this whole thing from the back end. And remember the fuel door as well. It's not exactly easy. It does get hung up on the seats back here, so be careful. So you can just slowly turn that console all the way over, and then I'm just going to go ahead and undo that harness right there. All right, after you remove that console there, you still got more center console to go all the way up. What you do is you're going to remove this piece here, which I have already done. There's going to be two 10mm nuts right there. So when you take out this part, there's going to be a screw. It's going to be a Torx. That's going to go through there. So I got all these little Torx bits in here. They're not screwdrivers, they're Torx bits. See what size that is in a second. And make sure that you have that handbrake all the way up to be able to remove this console. And when you remove the console, it will clip into the sides here. So just do that very carefully. Little side note, make sure you have the car at least in neutral or drive to be able to lift up this whole console. Probably have to go back just a little further than that, but I'm going to do this with 2 hands, not to break anything. So make sure you have that shifter back as far as you need it to go, so that way you can pop this whole center console out. Once you get everything out, going to be 2 little 7mm screws here, 1 on either side, and that's what's going to hold in the unit. So be sure to just take those out. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to plug that harness back into place. Let's see, get this turned around. So make sure when you put it in, this blue side is going to go on the out, away from this little tab that's already there, because that's pretty much so you don't accidentally put it in backwards. So as you can see, it's going to fit right in this little hole right here. You see that hole lines up here, and the hole lines up there. So we're just going to take both of these and put them back in. All right, I'm too lazy to use a regular socket wrench, so I'm going to use my Milwaukee M12 Fuel. Be sure when you do this, you are nestling those screws up against plastic, so you don't want to over torque that. Crack all that plastic, and you have another problem then. Just get those into place. Nice and sturdy, ain't going nowhere. Okay, before I bundle everything back up, I want to make sure everything works the way it should be. So I'm going to start the car up. Before, you wouldn't even see this. It was so dim, you would not see any light coming from there whatsoever. So I'm going to start the car up. Okay. Try the AC. All right, it clicked on. There we go. See if we get some AC going here. Turn this down. Turn that down. Oh yeah, it's blowing nice and cold. Right, there's 5 harnesses that we're going to be plugging back in. And then there's going to be one up in here that's going to go to the cigarette lighter in that console there. All right, I've ran the harness to the fuel door release, and then there's going to be these 3 harnesses here that are still going to have to go into the other plate. So to be able to slide this down in, this console is going to slide up underneath and pretty much under the same mounts here where these 2 10mm are. So don't snug those all the way down, so that way you're able to get those snugged down. All right, for the outlet, power outlet, you're going to just line up the tabs, little hole right there, put that right back in, and then here's our little control center pad here for the active handling and the indicator light for that secondary airbag. You're just going to lift this up and just going to drop it right into place. It should snap right into place, and that's that. When you get everything back together, it's going to be those 2 10mm nuts, and you got those 2 little plastic tabs there that's going to go right into those oval areas. You got your little control center there, put back in with the fuel door release panel switch, and then you're going to have the 2 Torx. It's going to go up in here, and one down like where the ashtray is going to be at. A little hard to see that, and then one behind that panel right there next to the ignition. Pretty much what you're going to need to do this job is a socket wrench, a 10 and 7mm socket, and a T15 Torx, plus a soldering iron with some solder, and you should be good with that. Alright, I'm going to get this thing all bundled back up. Going to time lapse it, make it a little quicker. but it's not a hard task. It's pretty simple. Lastly, I'd like to give a shout out to Yellow Vet 04, which I'm going to put a link in the description for his channel. He made a video on this and how to do it, so I referenced his video to be able to get this done, and it came out beautifully. I appreciate it, so I appreciate him. I know he's been watching a few of my videos, a couple things that he's learned from mine. So that's just YouTubers pretty much helping each other out. So that's one thing I'm appreciative about when it comes to YouTube. It's just the communities that can be formed and how everyone can just benefit from each other. So it's been great. And once again, a big shout out to him. So go over onto his channel and check it out. So I'll put a link in the description of that exact video that he did on fixing this. Seems to be in working order. Everything's all back together. I hope you enjoyed that, and if you have any of those issues, I hope this video helps you out along the way. Thank you for watching. I hope everyone can benefit from this video that has any of these type of issues. There's other GM cars that have some of the kind of the same unit as that electronic one there, and I really do appreciate you watching. And if you feel like subscribing, I would appreciate that as well. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. And this is Chemical Sport out.